you. Okay. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to preach. Hope you guys edified and in the house. Whatever I say. The title of the sermon is "Lust Not and Be Content." Lust not and be content. We live in a very weird time. I think we could say that. It's a little weird. But we have to understand, even though, what Solomon says, there's no new thing under the sun. There's no new thing under the sun. Whatever was here before was there too. Right? There was some weird countries back then too. Right? I'm pretty sure in Jesus' time, I'm pretty sure Rome was pretty weird. And it's now we live in a weird time. We live now in a time where first thing I want to focus on right now in the first part of this sermon. It's kind of like two parts of the sermon. The first one is I'm going to focus on lust not, and then I want to end it be content. And then be content. And so the first thing, the definition of lust is to have a strong desire for someone in a kind of a way, I want to keep this kind of PG here, to have a strong relationship with somebody in that more sexual way. And another definition is to have a strong desire for something, right? Lust is not just that certain relationship between two people, between a man and a woman. And it is also, lust can be something that we really desire, right? There's actually a good definition of lust too. We should lust after the Spirit, right? The Bible says that we should lust after godly things, right? We should really, earnestly desire godly things. But that's not what I'm talking about. Today I'm talking mostly about fornication and idolatry. And the first point is that God hates fornication and adultery. In the present, as it started in this present world, we live in a little kind of a strange time. A little bit of a weird time where even amongst Christianity, that fornication and idolatry is still very much, it is accepted, it seems like, even in mainstream Christianity, what we call Christianity. Yeah, because Christianity, they call Catholics Christian, right? Christian is a very broad term. It's a good term. It's a good term. Christian to be Christ-like. The Christian are trying to be Christ-like. But the world has this great, has a good way of perverting words, right? That used to be a very good word. Not mine, right? Maybe you guys time, I'm not sure, but not my time. Okay, so point one, God hates fornication and adultery. Fornication and adultery is something that everyone in this room has to deal with. Even like married people, from the oldest to the youngest. I guess teenagers, I should say. I hope, obviously, not for coming with that. I hope anything under that is pretty weird and sick and perverted. But it's something that we all have to deal with. And the sermon, I'm really going to try to keep it PG. If you don't know what fornication means, it is pretty, if you don't know what fornication means, it means that physical relationship outside of marriage. If you don't get that context, then you need to ask your parents. I'm not getting into that. And adultery is obviously a person that is married and he is having that. He or she is having that physical relationship outside the bounds of the marriage, right? He's married, but he's doing that with somebody else. That is adultery, right? And that is very commonly known. It's very commonly accepted in this world today, like I said before. But fornication, especially nowadays, this is just introduction. I want you guys to go to 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 6. Start at verse 6 there. That's the first place we're going to look at today. Is there a spirit Bible here? You know what? There's one right here. Is it?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have more introductions. Fornication and idolatry, something we have to go through in our mainstream life as adults, as we go to our jobs. Nowadays we have, if we would just follow the biblical principles of what God put out there, I firmly believe, and I firmly believe what the Bible says, that a woman should be a home taker in the house, right? Now we have women in the workplace, and now we have we have as women in the workplace is when that started most, and obviously in my generation when I was born, when I rose up, that was already very integrated into society. But what I hear and what has been said is that as soon as that happened, idolatry, and fornication, and divorce started going up. Like now it's saying that half marriages end in divorce, and we'll look at that too. And we'll come back to James 4 later. And I want to read through that because that has a lot of good verses about being content and lust. But we'll get back to it. So we're going to start there in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 6. And it says, "Now these things were our examples, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things." That is talking about the children of Israel when they were in the wilderness. They tempted God and they asked for stuff and they lusted and they went fornication, they went to idolatry, and they did all those manner evils. And it says here in verse 6, it starts out that, "Now these things were our examples, and to the intent that we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer. Now all these things happened unto them for an example, that they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come." See, these people, they murmur, right? And God, and we need, remember what the point, first point is, God hates fornication and idolatry. God hates fornication and idolatry so much that he killed 23,000 people in one day for that sin. But I want you guys to turn, keep one finger in 1 Corinthians, if you're following along, and go with the other fingers to Numbers 25. Start there in verse 1, Numbers 25 and verse 1. And this is where the story happens where God killed 23,000 people for the cause of fornication. That's Numbers 25. Numbers 25. Numbers 25, starting there at verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredoms with the daughters of Moab. This is a story. It's following the story of Balaam, a very famous story. If you remember, Balaam is the guy that, if you remember, growing up, this story was a very famous story because of the talking donkey, right? Literally, here, this is the only time an animal has ever talked, right? And nowadays, I wonder how many kids you would ask nowadays to say, how many times the animal talk? Well, animals can talk. We just can't understand them. They're in a higher level. They're only up here and we're down here, right? The animals can talk. That's kind of when you grow up watching movies. That's kind of what they're pushing out there, right? It's like animals are up here and we're down here. Like, no, we don't have cities. We're not totally organized. We don't have vehicles and so many things. And dogs are just literally eating manure, but they're up here. Yeah. But this is literally the only time in the Bible where an animal has talked, and it probably will ever talk, but I'm pretty sure it can confident talk. Okay, the snake talked, but that was the devil. All right, so maybe you got the snake, you got the serpent, or and you got the donkey, right? Those two things right there. And that's it. I can honestly believe that's it. Alright, so that's following Balaam. If you know the story, quick overview of Balaam. What's his name? Balaam and what was his name? Balak. Yeah, Balak, the king, sent to Balaam, hey, I want you to come curse Israel. They go back and forth. They finally come. The donkey, the angel wants to kill him. The donkey stops. Why beat me? Very quick overview. And Balaam goes to, I think, four points, and he, instead of curses Israel, he blesses Israel. And God doesn't let him. God doesn't let him curse Israel, but makes him bless Israel, right? But afterwards, as we see in different parts of Scripture, that Balaam actually advised Balak of how he can deal with Israel. And then this is the story where it starts out what he advised. He advised them, just go send your women in there and commit fornication right here. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredoms with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto their sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay every man, every one his man that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brother a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. And those that died in the plague were 24,000. 24,000 people died in the plague. Now we can go back to Corinthians. Right? And first of all, this guy also know that the guy that brought in Zimri, right? And we know that Zimri is they're weeping at church for the wickedness they've committed. They're repenting. They're not repenting to get saved. They're repenting of what they did. They're sad, and they're dead. And this guy, he brings in a woman, a Midianitish woman, into the camp, into the midst of the camp. And that's pretty wicked. It's pretty wicked. And some people, they might read it like, why did Phinehas just go there and kill him? But he was righteous in doing that, because we are so warped. We are so warped in fornication. Not just fornication. Well, God hates it. And just to show you how much He hates it, at verse 9 there, it said, those that died in the plague were 24,000. Now get this. Now, back in 1 Corinthians 10, in 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 8 says, neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000. Now, there's a difference between the story and then he went back. 23,000 people says here died for the cause of fornication. But we read in Numbers 25, it says 24,000. You know why? Because sin hurts people around you too. There's 1,000 people that died. They didn't commit the fornication. 23,000 people. They died. And they died justly. God is always right. God is always just what He does. God is always right. He's never wrong. He was just for killing those 23,000 people because of the fornication. Because of that, 1,000 people that didn't commit fornication, they got hurt. So that's You say, well, is God righteous in killing those 1,000 people? God is righteous. You know why? Because you go out, we all go out, and we commit sin, and we think, who's it going to hurt? Who's it going to hurt? We know it hurts other people. And this is a good scripture to look for, like an extra 1,000 people that didn't commit the fornication. Maybe they committed, maybe they went to adultery. Maybe they did do that. But they didn't commit the fornication, but they still got killed. So God hates fornication and adultery. 1,000 people died for the sin of 203,000. So, is the Bible wrong? No. Sin hurts people around us too. Number 2, it's worse than like I said that before. I'm saying it again. Fornication and adultery is something. Right? Especially we have a lot younger people here. We have people that are in their teenage years. People that go out of their teenage years and become adults. You are in a very dangerous spot in life right now. It's especially when you're teenagers. I'm out of the teenage years. I'm still a young adult, or middle adult. I don't know what you characterize me as, but you're in a dangerous spot right now. You are, if the world right now would look at you and say, and if you're right with God, if you're righteous, you keep yourself up to marriage. And I want the young people to listen. The older people, I'm sure you can listen to, but the young people, definitely. It shouldn't be, as right now, how do I put this? It shouldn't be like, should I, shouldn't I kind of thing. It should be like, hey, I'm going to keep myself up to marriage. That's it. Whatever. That fornication is not an option. Fornication is not an option. That belongs to my husband/wife. Right? That belongs to my specific daughter. I can't just get that way. I can't just ruin that. Right? Ruin that. Right? So it's worse than things. But in the world, what the world thinks, even in mainstream Christianity, that is foolish. That is stupid. Like growing up, watching those movies, I wasn't that great of a guy when I was in my teenage years. I wasn't that great. I watched a lot of R-rated movies that I should not have watched. And it corrupts your mind, and you listen to it, and literally what they think is that if you graduate high school and you're still a virgin, you're a loser. You're a complete loser. That doesn't happen. If you do that doesn't happen, then that's just no way. There's that if I graduate, this is what they bring out. And this is what those actors, those God people think. If I graduate high school and I'm still a virgin, it's literally my life is over. And if you go to college and you're still a virgin, like, whoa, that's just unheard of. You know that's not unheard of. You know there's actually people out there actually they do it. It's actually a virtue. You know why? Because the devil is so corrupted Christianity. And I'm not, the world is just so far off, I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm talking about Christianity. I'm talking about actually saved people. I'm not even talking about Catholics. I'm not talking about the Mormon. Is a Mormon a Christian? Would you characterize that as a Christian? What's that guy? Joseph, they're Smithmans. The Jehovah's Witnesses, everything, that I'm not talking about heresy, I'm not talking about wicked, I'm talking about saved people. Right? Even amongst saved people. So it should be wicked to us. But it's not. Because we listen to the world, and the world's telling us, if you do this, and you're 18 years old, and you're still a virgin, you're a loser. Complete loser. But literally, listen. And remember, God hates it so much, He killed 23,000 people for it. And you know what? You know what else we can get from that 1,000 people that got hurt in the crossfire? You know that? Don't be around people that are so just willing to jump into that. Be careful who you're around. Watch your friends. If your friends if your friends are just like really looking for that, they're really like, hey, you should watch this movie. Hey, you should do this. Hey, come in here with me. Come to this party with me. And all that. Be careful, guy. Just try to remove yourself from that. It's not good for us. Okay, moving on. So it's worse than you think. Okay, idolatry too, right? Now we're going to once you're married. Once you're married, there is a lot of, well, I'll put it this way. When I was still at home, I was unmarried, my brother, my dad, he never wanted a TV in the house. He never wanted, says, no TV in the living room. But my brother, my uncle lived on the same property, and he had TV in his house. And my brother, he ran a cord for my uncle's TV, and in his room he had TV. And when he's kind of a rigger, he's gone most of the time, like a month at a time, he's gone, and he's home for a couple of days. So while he's gone, I watch TV in his room. And it's literally, I'm not going to have TV because you know what I couldn't watch it for a very long time because it made me angry. It made me angry. And you know what made me angry most of all? It wasn't just the movies, it wasn't just like TV shows, which they do, it's the commercials. It's those commercials, right? It's the commercials. You know why? Because there's this one commercial. I'm never going to forget this commercial. It just blows my mind. How wicked this world is, right? This commercial goes out like this, right? There's zombies. Zombies. First of all, I'm just going to draw attention. What's with the zombie thing? Why is it? I go on, this week, I was looking for, I want a kind of a game on my phone. Something I can quickly play if I'm ever bored or something, which I don't get bored very often, sadly. But I wanted to play everything on the Play Store. I got a Samsung. It's better than iPhone. And everything in the Play Store is got a zombie this, zombie that, zombie. I don't want to play zombies. What is with the zombie thing? What's with zombies? I don't like zombies. Anyway, so what I'm saying, so this advertisement, this commercial had a couple, a boy and a girl. I'm not sure if they were married. I think they were married. But there was like all zombies, and they were walking around like zombies do. And she goes through his stuff, and she finds like a severed girl's zombie arm. It was really in a zombie kind of thing. Anyway, so they're sitting both on the couch. She's sleeping there, and she's looking at him all like this. And she takes her laptop and it opens up to a website. It's called Ashley Medicine. Ashley Medicine. I think so. Ashley Medicine. And she looks around there and she makes an account, and suddenly it's just like a bright light, and only up around her is a bright light, and she turns into this beautiful woman, and it's just like hair blowing and everything. And it's this site. This site is for. It's for married people who want to have an affair. That's what the site is for, right? It's for married people who want to have an affair. And it's I think one of the slogans, that's Ashley Medicine. Under there is a slogan that just boils my blood. There's something that boils my blood. It's cheating. That just boils my blood. Not more than anything. So under the slogan was like, life is short, have an affair, something like that, or shh. This one. Shh. That's what the world. That's what's out there. That's what's out there. Like, shh. Have an affair. There, it's wicked. And if we be honest, everyone is tempted. Everyone has lust. Everyone has that. And we go to work and we go out and we have now a lot of females at the workplace. And there's always lust. It's there for every guy. Like you say, well, you're a guy, you say, well, I don't lust after him. And no, you have to work hard not to lust after him. It doesn't just come like that. There's gonna be some time you guys, you girls, you're gonna get married. Guys, you're gonna get married. And you're gonna go to work. Probably, I should say 75% of the time there's gonna be a different woman there. And there's gonna be a temptation to lust after her. It's gonna be there. Right? No guy's gonna escape that, and girls too. Girls too. Now don't just think you're just totally past. There is There's a lust there for different guys too. It's there. It's inside. That's the sin nature that we have. Say, well, I don't really lust. No, I don't believe everything. That's something that we have to control. But in the world today, we say that divorce is not a very big thing. It's not a big thing. It's like saying, well, Jesus totally got rid of the whole punishment by idolatry, punishment by that. Right? That's how I was right? Jesus got rid of the whole idolatry punishment, because in the Old Testament, idolatry was punishable by death. You committed adultery, you were punishable by death. Do you know it's time to start?
10:43.
It was punishable by death, right? But let's see here. Let's actually look at that quickly. Just a quick reference there. Leviticus 20. Leviticus 20. Leviticus 20. So we have, when you go out to get married, you're gonna have a lot of, and if you're already married, you have a lot of, there's a lot of temptation there to lust after different women, and you know, obviously it starts right there. If you let that lust stay, everything, fornication, adultery, that happens first in your heart, right? If you know, first it comes in your mind, if you let it stay, it'll come into your heart. If you let it stay, it'll happen. It will happen. And the devil will give you opportunities to do that. So when it comes in here, you gotta push it out right away. Say, no, I'm not gonna do that. I got a wife, and I'm gonna stick with that for the rest of my life. There's no way out. And when me and my wife got married, I told her, and we told each other, there is only one way out, that's that. There's no divorce. There's no divorce. There's no option for divorce. And that's how we should get into marriage. There is no way out. There's no way out. You go up and you make your vow in front of God. Not just the paperwork you sign. That doesn't really mean anything anymore, because you can get out of it with nothing. Basically, you go to court, it costs $5,000 to get out of it. So it's a price tag on it, right? But when you make a vow to God, that needs to stick. That needs to stick, right? Alright, Leviticus 29. Leviticus 20, verse 9 says, "For everyone that curseth his father and his mother shall surely be put to death. He had cursed his father and his mother, his blood shall be upon him. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lied with his father's wife had uncovered his father's nakedness, both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them will surely be put to death. They have no confusion, their blood shall be upon them. If a man also lies with mankind, is alive with a woman, both of them have committed abomination, they shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them." If you're in Leviticus 20, you might as well read that. You might as well just go there, right? You might as well. So the ones I really want to focus on there is that verse 10 there. "And a man committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery and with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death." That's what I want to focus on there, is that they shall surely be put to death. You go out, you commit adultery. If you're not even married, let's say you're not married, but she's married, you've committed adultery. God's punishment for that is death. And they say in the New, and I want you guys to turn to John chapter 8. And they say that, oh, God put it out the way. God totally got rid of that. He got rid of all that, the death penalty, he totally got rid of it. Like murder, no, the death penalty is just totally gone. Because, if you kill somebody, you shouldn't be put to death. If you commit adultery, you sure shouldn't be put to death. That is so radical right now. That is, you have no idea how radical that is right now. Adultery is literally, how do you put it? In a fair. You kind of try to make it sound good in a fair. Right? It's not very good. It's wicked. It's not. John 8. Verse chapter 8, verse 1, and there's a lot to read. Okay, for sake of time, okay, and the scribes and the Pharisees, starting in verse 3, and the scribes and the Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they had set her in the midst, they said unto her, Master, this woman had taken adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what sayest thou? And they said, tempted him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast the stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground, and they which heard it, being verse 9, and they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last, and Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And when Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, the Leviticus law of adultery is totally done away with, you're free to go. Is that what it says? No, that's not what it says. And when Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Had no man condemned thee? And she said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. So Jesus totally left her off the hook for something she was caught in the very act of adultery. She was caught in the very act of adultery. All right? But see, why did Jesus not condemn her? Well, Jesus himself said, I did not come to condemn, right? I came to save the world, right? He did not come to condemn people. He came to save the world. But why did the chief priest bring this woman there to tempt him? Right? Because Jesus, it was kind of it's like if Jesus would have said, oh yeah, do the law, kill her. They would have ran to the Roman government. And said, well, let's start with this. If he would have said, no, don't kill her. Then they would have said, well, Moses and the law, they can't. They tell us to such a woman should be put to death, and they repeat that. And then if he said, okay, kill her, stone her, then he would have said, then they would have ran to the Roman government and said, he's telling us to kill this person, right? Because the Jews, what we have to understand in this story, the Jews do not have the authority to kill anyone. They have to have the Roman government's permission, right? When they killed Jesus, when they brought Jesus in front of Pilate, Pilate said, well, you just punished him by your law. And they said, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. Right? They didn't have the authority to put any man to death. They couldn't do it. So that's why. And that kind of shows us even Jesus being God and Jesus having the law, right? We still have to follow to a certain extent, the country's laws, Canadians' law, right? Now, if Canadian law says we can't read the Bible, we can't preach, we can't go so, we're going, right? We're not going to stop.
Amen.
But when they say, the Bible does say if a man lie with another man, then they should die. And we don't have the right to go and just go and do that, right? If we catch somebody in adultery, we don't have the right to just go and stone them. Even though the Bible says so, we don't have. God has committed that to the government. The government should be doing that, right? And we totally believe that, right? We believe that the government should put almost to death because that's what the Bible says, and that's what the Bible says about adultery too. And if we were in a righteous government, the government would put idolaters to death, murderers, faggots, what else? Kidnappers, molesters, all those people. If we have a righteous government, we can do that. So Jesus himself said, I did not come to, I did not come to put away the law, just paraphrasing. I did not come to put away the law, but he came to fulfill it, right? So he did not get rid of the death penalty on adultery. Adultery is a wicked practice. And it hurts families and hurts people around us. Again, if we go back to that 1,000 that got hurt by the crossfire, that 23,000 people did it, 24,000 people died. Right? All right. Let's see here. Where was it? Remember, keep your eyes and keep your life. Right? Now, I kind of alluded to that before. Adultery, fornication, all starts in here. It starts at first. You see it in your eyes. You see it in your mind. It comes in here. If you don't get rid of it here, it's going to move down here. If you don't get rid of it here, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Everyone who's committed fornication, everyone who's committed adultery, they had it in their head. They wanted to do it for just maybe weeks or months or days before. Right? It didn't just happen. It wasn't just spontaneous. Right? If people keep guarding themselves here and here, there's no way it's going to happen out there. So keep your eyes. And let's go to a verse for that. Let's go to verse. Let's go quickly to Proverbs 6. Let's go quickly to Proverbs 6. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 25. We want to read through this quickly. Okay, it says, "Lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids." This is talking about the flattery of a strange woman, so much strange woman in Proverbs here. So lust not after beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with the eyelids, for by the means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom, and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals, and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committed adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyed his own soul. A wound and a dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though he give many gifts. All right, let's say you keep it in your head. You see somebody at work, or you see somebody out, and you're constantly around this person. Keep it in your head. It's going to move to your heart. Move to your heart. It's going to happen out there. All right, you say, well, I'm not going to tell anybody. I made a mistake. Maybe afterwards you regret it. That's not just going to end there. It's not just going to end there. All right, you read here what Proverbs said. For jealousy, she's got a husband, all right? For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare the day of vengeance. He's not going to spare. Jealousy is the rage of a man, right? Guys, literally, I don't know, if we had a story, or if we had a list of so many guys that actually murdered guys that they caught with their wives. Jealousy is the rage of a man. The man that you take, it even talks about it here, that if somebody steals something, if somebody steals something, he needs it, if he's hungry, and nobody's going to despise him, but he's still going to have to pay that back. But if you go into a woman, you lack understanding, you're going to pay for it, even something with your life. With your life, because he that loveth understand. He will not, okay, so, yeah, here we go. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, until thou givest many gifts. Okay, so I have another, now I want to move into contention. To content, to be content. I'll try to get through this quickly here. Right. Alright, to be content. Fornication, idolatry, it's kind of a form of you're not content. You're not content with being with having that single. If you're not married, you're not content being single, or you're not content with not having that relationship. And idolatry is obviously you're not content with what you have. You're not content with what God has given you. So to be content, what's the definition of content? To be pleased and satisfied, not needing more. And I want to ask yourself, am I content? Are you content? Let's say you right now, maybe most of you are saying, yeah, I'm content. What do you think about it? Are you content? You have a lot of younger single people. Are you content with being single? Think about that. Are you content with being single? God has given you, right now, God is, hopefully you're asking, if you're not content with being single, hopefully you're not going into a different extreme of kind of just I'm looking and whatever comes right away, I'm just going to jump right at that. The first guy that smiles at me, I'm going to give him all my attention. First girl that gives me a wink, I'm going to totally run after that. Alright? Hopefully guys, girls, and hopefully you understand this very important principle. If they're not saved, I don't touch you. Right? You're not saved. They're not saved. Like, how does that scripture go? Be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. Not to become equally yoked, right? And you say, well, I'm just going to date her. I'm just going to date him. I'm just going to date her. I'm just going to date him. You know, I'm not going to plan to marry. Understand this. Understand it's very important to you. This is very deep. You know what the purpose of dating is? To get married. You know what the purpose of dating is to get married. And you know, you got so many people out there. This is not a world Christian, mainstream Christian view that dating. Like if you get married and you only had like one girlfriend and you married her, that's weird. That's weird, right? Hopefully, by God's grace, you only have one girlfriend / boyfriend, and you got married. Hopefully, you married that person. All right. Hopefully, you didn't have to break up with somebody else. Hopefully, by God's grace, you didn't have to go through that. Dating, you get married. That's what dating is for. It's to find a husband or a wife. That is what dating is for. And that's it. That's dating. And you know what? Hopefully I practice what I preach in this, but I think I have no right to give the advice to maybe future husbands, future moms and future dads, but dads right now, don't let your kids alone in their room with the door closed. Don't let them alone in their room. They have them inside all the time. You give them the space to do it, they're going to do something, right? Keep the door open. They don't need to. They can talk. They can talk fine, and if they don't want to hear you, whatever they want to say, maybe they can be in their room. If they want to give them a little bit of privacy, the door is wide open. Don't let them. They don't need to be alone. They don't need to. They got their whole marriage life to be alone. They can talk with the door open. And if it's something they don't want you to hear, maybe it's something they don't need to talk about. You know? All right. So where was it going with that? Right, so be content where God has you right now. Say I'm single, but I really want a girlfriend. I really want a boyfriend. So be content to what God has given you right now. Be content. Husbands, be content with your wife. And wives, be content with your husbands. I know that's a little harder to do. Yeah, be content with where you're at right now in your life. Now God has put you there. And hopefully that you are just, God has put me in this place right now. God wants me to do something right now. I'm gonna pray that He gets me somebody to spend my life with. I'm gonna pray for that. But if He doesn't, that's His will. I'm gonna be content. I'm gonna be content with that. I'm gonna be content with that. And that's hard to do. I'm not saying that's easy. It takes discipline. But turn you guys to 1 Kings 20. We'll try to get through this one quickly. How do we take it when we don't get what we want? How do we take it when we don't get what we want? It's 1 Kings 21. So how do you take it when God says, you know what, you don't need a girlfriend. You don't need a boyfriend. You're not there yet. How do we take it? How do we take it? Let's see here. Verses 1 to 6. I'm reading 1 Kings 21, starting at verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was at Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give it thee the word of it in money. And Naboth said that to Ahab, The Lord forbid it, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto you. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased, because the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would not eat no bread, and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said to him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake to Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my money. So that's Ahab, right? We're probably all familiar with that story. But what we say here is, why is Naboth why? Because the king was willing to give him a better one. He was willing to pay him good money for it. So why didn't he just take it? But you got to understand, in Israel, God picked. God chose which houses are gonna be those vineyards. And he had Naboth, if he didn't want to sell, he didn't have to sell. If he said no, I don't want to sell. And Ahab was a little baby about it, wasn't even pouted. Right? So how do you get it? When you get in your head, like, I'm not getting what I want. Do you get all like Ahabby? Is it Ahabby? You go into your bed, you change it like like that. And you do that. You go that, and your wife has to come in here, I'll get it for you. And Jezebel's wicked as hell. Hopefully your wife ain't like that. But yeah, well, how do you take it when you don't get your want? Think about it. Just think about it. Literally, just think about it. Do I take it right? Now, what's the right way? Okay. Well, we have another example. We have a good example, and that is in 2 Corinthians 12. 2 Corinthians 12. And we're going to have a second today. We got Ahab. And we know what he said. Are you an Ahab? Or are you a Paul? Think about it. Just think about it. In 1 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 12. Oh man, there's one more. Almost done. Almost done. Wow. 2 Corinthians 12, 6. Start there at verse 6. Verse 6. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. For I will say the truth, but now I forbear, lest any man should think me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me. And lest I should be exalted above measure, through the abundance of revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. Above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So we got Paul here. We have Paul here, and God is giving him, this is not just Naboth here. This is not just a regular human just dinging it, distressing him. This is God. God is literally going and telling him, you're going to keep that infirmity. I don't know what the infirmity was that he was praying to get rid of. But you know what? He said, praise God. Thank you. Thank you for those infirmities. Keeping my pride down. It's keeping my thing down. So how are you taking? Are you an Ahab? Are you a plan? When your wife says no, when your husband says no, when your parents say no, when your boss says no, how do you take it? Are you going to think about it? Are you a Paul or you're an Ahab? Do you go pout about it? Do you go get angry about it? Do you go blame God? Or do you go thank God? Do you go say, God, that's your choice. God, you know what's best. And you know what? God always knows what's best. God is always the best. You are a son of God. If you're saved today, you are a son of God. And God loves you and God wants what's best for you. Is that right? Alright, quickly, Philippians 4, I want to look at this one too. This is basically, you guys don't have to turn it, I'm just going to read it quickly. Philippians 4. You can turn there if you like. I'm just going to read it quickly. Philippians 4:11. Here we go. Not that I speak in respect of wants, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. That's Paul. Let's read it. Whatever I am, wherever I am, whatever I do, I'm content. God brought me here. There's no saying. God brought me to it. He's bring me through it. Let's skip that. Alright, you know, I think I'm going to skip that too. That's a different set of whole other side of that. Okay, so let's skip that one and say, why do I need to be content? Why do I need to be content? Well, you know, you really, if you're not content, you hurt yourself. And if you're content, God will notify you. God will bless that. The verse I have here is Hebrews 13. Why do I need to be content? Why should I? You're in that. You're kind of an Ahab. You're not getting what you want, and you're kind of saying to yourself, "Why should I be content? Why should I?" You know that thing kids and teenagers all said, "Why should I?" Or adults, pretty much everybody. Why should I? Why should I? Why should I be content? Hebrews 13. Hebrews 13, starting at verse 5. Hebrews 13, 5. Hebrews 13. Hebrews 13. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content in such things as he had. For he had said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, that I will not fear what man shall do unto me. So why should I be content? Why should I? Now, right here, write this down, Hebrews 13, 5 and 6. You know, make a mark. Make this your verse of the day. Right here. For let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as he had. Why should I be content? For he had said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So if God never leaves you, never forsakes you, he's your Father, he wants to bless you. And he says no. He knows the beginning from the end, and you don't. Sometimes some of you, especially me, I don't know what happened last week, never mind tomorrow. So, but God does. So he told you to be content with what you have. He knows what's best for you. Right there in verse 6. So that we may boldly say, why do I need to be content? So that I can boldly say, the Lord is my helper. God is our helper. We need to be content. Because God is our helper. He knows what's best. So we need to be content. So for conclusion, how can I? I'm not content. I'm an Ahab. I know what you said about God. He's a helper. I know I need to be content. I know I should be content. How do I be content? Why? How do I? Well, let's go through one more chapter. Last chapter. And I told you, I told you to go to, we wrote James, we read James, but what I wanted to see in James was James 4. What I wanted to see in James 4, you guys go to Galatians 5, and that was the last verse we're trying. So what I wanted from James 4, I'm just going to read it quickly, it says, from whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence even from your lust that war in your members? Ye lust, and have not. Ye kill, and desire to have, ye cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. You don't have. Hey, this is another state. Like I told you, if you want to, if you want to lie, if you want to girlfriend, if you want boyfriend, if you want that job, if you want to move, if you want to do all that, if you want to be on something, you should be content where you're at. You shouldn't lust too much. Maybe that's not God's plan for you. But the first thing you should do is, ye have not. You don't have it. Why don't you have it? Ye lust and have not. Ye kill, ye desire to have, ye cannot obtain. Ye fight war, yet ye have not. Why? Because ye ask not. Right? But then it keeps going on. And this applies to me, this applies to everyone here, this applies to the whole world. Ye ask. But then you ask. You ask. You say, well, I do ask. You ask. Yes, you ask. But you don't receive them. You ask, but you receive them because you ask amiss. Why do you ask amiss? Because you may consume it upon your lust. Why didn't God give me a Ferrari? God, I asked for it for like 10 years already. I'm not getting a Ferrari. Where's my Ferrari? Why do you want a Ferrari? So you can drive around, Winkler, Snowflake, every time. Say, yeah, I got a Ferrari. Maybe you just want to consume the lust. But let's turn to Galatians. Let's just turn to Galatians. Galatians. So, I want to be content. Maybe that's what you're thinking. I want to be content. How do I be content? Well, this is I say then in Galatians 5:16. Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. I don't walk in the Spirit. So how do I walk in the Spirit? How do I walk in the Spirit? When you read your Bible, you say, well, I'm reading my Bible. You pray. I asked God for it. I'm asking God for it. And you still would say something. Maybe I have a little bit of it. I'm not getting it. Well, maybe you memorize it. Not doing that much. Say I'm doing that. You go soul. Maybe go out and work for God. Maybe do something. You walk in the Spirit. And you know what? I'm not going to talk. Everyone at work, they're talking about that whole thing. They're talking about it. I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to go away from that. Hey, I've been watching movies. I've been going to that place. I've been doing this. It's just not how God thinks. I'm going to separate myself. Walk the Spirit. So, but why do I walk the Spirit? It says, you won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. That's one thing. But in verse 22 there, it says, but the fruit of the Spirit. So if I walk the Spirit, if I fill the Spirit, what's the fruit of the Spirit? It's love. It's joy. It's peace. It's long-suffering. Gentleness, goodness, faith. Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. So, I want to be content. And I think you would be content if you had more love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. So I want to be content. That's good. Content like that. Walk in the Spirit. Read your Bible. Fill yourself with the Holy Spirit. Pray it out. Fill the Holy Spirit. He'll fill you with love. He'll fill you with joy. They'll fill you. So all this is a list. They'll fill you whatever. Hey, you come to me and tell me. Come to me. I dare you to come to me and be filled with love. joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Come to me and say, I got all those, and I'm full of those, and it's great. I'm still not content. I do. You're full of joy, and you shall me, you're going to come and you say you're not content. I'm telling you, you're not full of joy. Okay? You're not full of joy. So that's the conclusion. I hope you guys got edified. The last thing I have here is you want true joy? Walk in Spirit. I hope that edifies you. So let's bow our heads. Thank you.